Breaking news. America goes dark. In an instant, the familiar glow of city lights vanishes, plunging the nation into an unprecedented darkness. A nationwide blackout plunges millions into chaos. People pour into the streets, confusion and disbelief etched on their faces as the world they know is suddenly transformed. In New York City, Times Square vanishes into darkness, the city's hum replaced by an unnerving silence. The iconic billboards and neon lights that once defined the city are now just memories, swallowed by the night. Cars coast to a stop, their lights extinguished. The skyline becomes a jagged silhouette against a star-filled sky, a rare sight in a city that never sleeps. For the first time in decades, the stars reclaim the night above the metropolis. This isn't a local outage, it's the entire United States, from Maine to California. Every major city, every small town, all plunged into the same inky blackness. In Chicago, the L train halts mid-route, leaving passengers stranded between stations. In Houston, refineries fall silent, their machinery stilled for the first time in living memory. The electrical grid, the nation's lifeblood, collapses in an instant. No one knows why. No one knows what's happening. Control rooms sit empty, their screens blank, as operators scramble for answers that don't exist. Panic spreads as families on the West Coast lose power mid-dinner, and the East Coast commute turns into chaos. Parents try to comfort children in the dark, while commuters abandon stalled vehicles and search for a way home. Emergency services are overwhelmed. 911 call centers are flooded but have no answers. Operators do their best to calm frantic callers, but the lines are jammed and information is scarce. Without traffic lights, intersections become danger zones. Gas pumps stop working, stranding millions. The infrastructure everyone relies on is suddenly useless, and frustration mounts as people realize the scale of the crisis. The technology-dependent society is brought to its knees in a single moment. Offices fall silent, computers and servers powerless as workers fumble for flashlights and try to make sense of the situation. People check circuit breakers, only to see entire cities shrouded in black. Neighbors gather outside, sharing rumors and fears, searching for any sign of hope or explanation. Cell towers and the internet fail, isolating people from news and loved ones. Smartphones become useless bricks, cutting off the digital lifelines that connect families and friends. The blackout is not just physical. It's a blackout of information. Television screens, radios, and computers all go dark, leaving the nation in a void of silence and uncertainty. In those first hours, fear is the only thing left to light the way. People huddle together, their faces illuminated by flickering candlelight, wondering what will come next. The silence is absolute, the darkness total. Streets that once bustled with life are now empty, echoing with the absence of sound and movement. America, for the first time in modern history, is truly alone. The world watches, but no help can reach across the void of darkness that now covers the land. The great unknown has arrived, and the nation holds its breath. In the darkness, every second stretches, and the question on everyone's mind is the same: when or if the lights will ever return. Hours before the blackout, America woke to a typical Monday. In Denver, Sarah Jenkins made breakfast for her kids, coffee brewing, news on TV. Her husband drove to work. Kids argued over a tablet, ordinary life powered by invisible energy. Across the country, millions lived similar scenes. Lattes in Miami, coding in Seattle, trucks guided by GPS, factories humming. The economy thrived, powered by electricity and digital data. Much of this energy flowed from Canada, oil through pipelines, hydroelectricity lighting up the Midwest and Northeast. Few thought about this reliance. It was as invisible as air. The stock market opened, planes took off, the internet buzzed, business as usual. But far to the north, a decision was made. The last normal morning was ending, the abyss unseen. No one suspected the world was about to change. The switch was about to be flipped. America was utterly unprepared. When the power failed, a profound silence swept the nation. The hum of modern life vanished. Air conditioners, traffic, electronics, all gone. People stepped outside, searching the sky for answers, hearing only wind and confused voices. The blackout rolled across the country like an invisible wave. Hollywood, factories, and the industrial heartland all fell silent. The loss of convenience was immediate. Water pumps stopped, taps ran dry, homes grew cold. Elevators and electronic locks failed, trapping people in high-rises. The world reverted to a pre-industrial state in seconds. Families, stripped of digital distractions, faced the darkness together. At first, some tried to make light of it. Candles, stories, a sense of adventure. But as hours passed, anxiety grew. The silence became a reminder of isolation and vulnerability. The darkness outside was matched by a growing darkness within. The true scale of the crisis was only beginning to sink in. As night fell, Fear became a constant companion, settling over every home like a heavy blanket. The familiar comfort of light was gone, replaced by a deep, unsettling uncertainty that crept into every corner. The darkness was no longer a novelty, it was a threat, hiding dangers both real and imagined. Every shadow seemed to move, every creak in the floorboards set nerves on edge. The world outside the window felt distant and unknowable. Parents clung to their children, trying to offer comfort while hiding their own fears. In the absence of news, rumors spread quickly, whispered from one anxious family member to another, growing with each retelling. For the sick and elderly, the blackout was more than an inconvenience. It was life-threatening. Medical devices failed, and hospitals struggled to care for patients in the suffocating dark, their resources stretched to the breaking point. Food spoiled in silent refrigerators, and cooking became a daily challenge. The simple routines that once held families together began to unravel, replaced by improvisation and uncertainty. Communication was gone, no internet, no cell service, no way to check on loved ones or receive updates. The silence was deafening, amplifying the sense of isolation and helplessness. America became a collection of isolated islands, each home and neighborhood cut off from the next. Streets that once bustled with life now lay empty and silent, shrouded in darkness. Yet, in the midst of fear, small communities formed. Neighbors who had barely spoken before now shared resources, and battery-powered radios became lifelines, connecting people to the outside world and to each other. Families pooled what little food they had, shared warmth and offered kindness in the dark. Acts of generosity became beacons of hope, however small. But beneath the surface, tension simmered. The stress of uncertainty and scarcity led to quiet arguments and strained relationships as everyone struggled to adapt. The fragility of society was exposed as public spaces emptied and anxiety grew. The sense of community was tested like never before. The blackout was not just a loss of power, it was a loss of trust and connection. People retreated into themselves, unsure who or what to rely on. The nation realized, with a shock, how quickly everything could fall apart. The systems that held daily life together were more fragile than anyone had imagined. Darkness pressed in from all sides, and hope flickered uncertainly. Small, fragile, but still alive, waiting for the dawn. On day 2, the cause of the blackout emerged, not from Washington, but from battery radios picking up Canadian broadcasts. Canada had deliberately cut off all energy exports, oil pipelines closed, power lines disconnected. America's deep dependence on Canadian energy had become its greatest vulnerability. The Canadian government cited trade disputes, environmental disagreements, and border tensions as reasons. Their message: this was an act of self-preservation, not aggression. For Americans, shock turned to anger and betrayal. The blackout was not an accident, it was a political weapon. The darkness now symbolized broken trust and a deeply uncertain future. The nation was held hostage by its closest ally. The blackout's economic impact was immediate and devastating. The financial system froze, no stock market, no banks, no ATMs, no credit cards. Commerce stopped, businesses became worthless overnight. The transportation network collapsed. Trains, planes, and trucks halted. Supply chains shattered. Grocery shelves emptied. Restocking became impossible, and a food crisis loomed. Hospitals, running on dwindling fuel, faced impossible choices, turning off life-saving machines, sending patients home. The healthcare system teetered on collapse. Even if power returned, the damage was done. Contracts broken, trade halted, trust in the US economy shaken. Factories would take months to restart. Lost data might never be recovered. The blackout was an economic heart attack. The patient's survival was uncertain. America's vulnerability was laid bare. The cost would haunt the nation for years. By day 4, society began to unravel. The initial sense of unity gave way to desperation and fear. Darkness became cover for looting and crime. Police were overwhelmed. The rules of society dissolved, replaced by survival instincts. Government communication failed, leadership vanished, and paranoia spread. Communities fortified themselves, trust eroded, and neighborhoods became isolated tribes. Psychological stress mounted, uncertainty, fear, and daily struggle wore people down. Arguments flared over dwindling resources, yet stories of resilience emerged. Doctors worked by flashlight, firefighters and police persevered. The crisis exposed deep inequalities. Those with resources fared better, the poor suffered most. The blackout amplified existing divisions. America teetered on the edge of collapse. The darkness revealed the nation's deepest fractures. Canada's energy cutoff turned a domestic disaster into an international crisis. Years of strained relations, tariffs, environmental disputes, border tensions had pushed Canada to the brink. Ottawa felt cornered, their economy threatened, their sovereignty disrespected. The energy cutoff was a desperate gambit to force America's hand. Canada aimed to rebalance the power dynamic, using America's dependence as leverage. The suffering was immense, but Ottawa believed it was the only way to be heard. In Washington, outrage erupted. Calls for retaliation grew. The situation was a powder keg. One misstep could spark war. The president faced an impossible choice: escalate or negotiate. The world watched as two allies stood on the brink. The fate of millions hung in the balance: diplomacy or disaster. America's next move would define its future. With society teetering on the edge of chaos, the United States made a pivotal choice, opting for negotiation over confrontation, diplomacy over escalation. In the face of mounting uncertainty, leaders gathered behind closed doors, determined to find a peaceful solution to a crisis that threatened the very fabric of daily life. Secret talks, quietly mediated by European allies, unfolded over tense days and sleepless nights. These negotiations led to a historic deal. Tariffs were lifted, restrictive border policies suspended, and Canada agreed to restore vital energy exports. The agreement marked a turning point, offering hope where there had been only anxiety. Gradually, the lights flickered back to life after 8 harrowing days of darkness. Each illuminated window was a sign of progress, a small victory in the long road to recovery. The recovery was slow and arduous. Supply chains had to be rebuilt from the ground up, factories restarted under new protocols, and damaged infrastructure painstakingly repaired. The scars of the blackout lingered, a constant reminder of how quickly normalcy could unravel. The crisis served as a wake-up call. America's vulnerability, once ignored, was now impossible to deny. Empty shelves and anxious faces became symbols of a nation caught unprepared. In response, a nationwide movement surged forward. "Never again" became the rallying cry at town halls and community gatherings, uniting citizens across political and social divides in a shared determination to secure the nation's future. Massive investments poured into renewable energy and the creation of a resilient decentralized power grid. Engineers and innovators worked tirelessly, determined to build a system that could withstand future shocks. The relationship with Canada, though repaired through hard-won compromise, was forever changed. Trust had to be rebuilt, and both nations emerged more cautious, yet more aware of their interdependence. Internally, the nation was humbled. Communities grew stronger as neighbors helped one another. Volunteers distributed supplies, and families found comfort in togetherness during the darkest nights. Appreciation for the fragile systems that supported daily life was renewed. The darkness of 2025 forced America to confront its weaknesses head-on, exposing vulnerabilities that could no longer be ignored or postponed. Yet, out of crisis came transformation. A stronger, more resilient nation began to emerge, shaped by the lessons of hardship and the resolve to never be caught off guard again. The silence and darkness had forged a new United States, one that valued preparedness, unity, and innovation above all. The lesson was clear: never take the light, or the systems that sustain it, for granted again. Every illuminated room was now a symbol of resilience, hope, and a nation forever changed.